Okay, so as you can see, I have the mating surface all completely covered in 3-bond. I have just a little tiny bit of 3-bond on the 2 plugs that go on the stator side. And now we're about to put our crankshafts in. When you're putting them in, when you're handling them, I like to put this half-moon locator on the bearing before it goes in, because we're going to want that halfway between the cases. So it's much easier to do, I find, if it's on the bearing. Make sure you don't lose it. Also hold on to the seal so it doesn't drop off of the end of the crankshaft. And also make sure all of your lower locating pins are up. And then put them into their place. Locating pins, or a lot of people call them knock pins. Is that anything like a knock list from Mission Impossible? He's a really short guy that does his own stunts about to bust through my door. Anyways, so these rings, these half rings, go halfway between each case, according to Yamaha guidelines. I guess they wanted to not only locate the bearing with them, but also make sure that the crank halves are meshed together properly. So they go halfway up between the 2 cases. Again, make sure you don't drop that locating ring, or let your seal slide off the end of the crank when you're putting it in. And again, make sure that your locating pins or knock pins are in the up position when you lower it down. And kind of make sure that your locator half ring is out so that you can move it. Put your locating pins or knock pins in place. Shh! Tom Cruise is about to run in the door. So anyways, we have our cranks in, and now our crankcase half goes on. Now this is an easy one to do quickly and know which way it's going to go on quickly, because this stud goes to the back corner, back left-hand corner where the serial number is. Make sure all your connecting rods are in and not getting pinched anywhere. And it should lower right down. Again, watch your connecting rods. Okay, so we have all of the case bolts in. Always make sure that the threads on your case bolts are perfectly clean and that there's no dirt or old grunge on them. Also make sure that you have a washer on each one of them. A washer and clean threads will ensure that you are getting the correct torque value when you get your torque wrench out. So what I do is I go over these with a regular ratchet and I snug them over the whole pattern, and then I snug them again over the entire pattern, and then on the third pass I get my torque wrench out and we go over it usually 2 more times before I'm at the proper torque value. So we start at 1, and these right now are just finger tight. So I snug about a 1/4 inch, and 2, about a 1/4 turn, I should say. Number 3, 1/4 turn. 4, 1/4 turn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, I've gone over the pattern 3 times now, and now I'm about to go over it with the torque wrench. And I have here a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench. The click type, the head will click when it reaches its torque. And I have the shortest socket possible on there. You want to avoid deep sockets, you want to avoid extensions. Those kinds of things can change the torque value that you're getting on the nut or bolt. So we have crankcase, stud bolt, 8 mil by 1.25. There is 16 of them. There's actually 18 because there's those 2 socket cap ones at the top, but I don't think I can bring those up to 9.4 foot-pounds without stripping the inside of them. But we will do the rest of them. 9.4 foot-pounds of torque is what we want on all 16 of these cylinder, or I should say crankcase bolts. So we're going to go over that, and we go back into the same pattern again. We start with number 1. And we just 1 and 2 and 3. 4. 5. You get the idea.
Say sweet things to me.